I'm George Koob. I'm the director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, which is part of the National Institutes of Health. The overall picture is that with Dry January, it's a way of evaluating your relationship with alcohol. And I'll give you my bottom line, which is if you feel better when you're not drinking, then you should listen to your body because your body's trying to tell you something. And so, that the benefits extend everything from physiological conditions to behavioral issues. I mean, if you're sleeping better, uh, if you're waking up the next day and are not so fatigued or don't have excruciating hangover, headaches, or you're interacting better with your family members, you're got much more energy for work and projects associated with work, then you should listen to those changes, and it may indicate that part of the problem is alcohol. And it extends from overdoing it with sporting events where everything turns into a prolonged tailgating party, or maybe you go out to dinner with friends, or you go to a party or an office party and you overindulge and embarrass yourself and maybe embarrass your significant other. And so, those are some signs during the holidays that maybe something's not quite right. But in general, it would be where there's one of the most sensitive measures is a deterioration in social interaction. So if things aren't going so well when you've been drinking, with interactions with family members or colleagues, then it's something you should pay attention to. The health benefits of going through Dry January and reevaluating your relationship with alcohol is you may end up sleeping better, which is actually pretty significant. You may lose weight. You may have less gastrointestinal distress. There's a whole host of cardiac measures that can improve, from arrhythmias, if you're prone to arrhythmias, and hypertension can improve, decreased, so your high blood pressure could go down. You can lose weight. And to be honest with you, you could actually save some money, which you might want to, that can be a motivating principle, because you could, maybe if buy a better surfboard, or whatever your favorite thing is, maybe upgrade your automobile. By when you start adding up how much money you spend on drinking misuse, it can be significant. The thing I give as advice is if you're hosting a party or you're going to a party, insist that there are non-alcohol containing beverages available. So, people can go to a party and have a club soda or a sparkling water, put a lime in it, and they have just as much fun at a party as anybody else who's actually drinking an alcohol containing beverage. And actually, studies have been done to show that people have just as good a time who are not drinking, because the party itself is contagious fun and good social interaction. So that's one piece of advice. Make sure there are non-alcohol containing beverages available. I mean, we always talk about stigma associated with over drinking, but there's also stigma associated with not drinking in our society, and both forms of stigma should be eliminated. If people are over drinking, they should be able to get help for their problem. But if people don't want to drink because they have a big project the next day and they want to have a clear head, I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to say, I'm not drinking tonight. And a young person can do it because they have a term paper the next day, or they have that big exam for their med chem course, and they want to get into medical school. I mean, I can create all kinds of scenarios. Absolutely. I mean, young people can create their own mocktails. I mean, you can get them at restaurants and bars across the country now. There are dry bars in some of the bigger cities, maybe even some of the smaller cities at this point. And so there are lots of options. There's a beer that's allegedly quite tasty that I confess I haven't partaken of it, but it's a non-alcohol beer that and a number of them at this point that I think are doing quite well. So I think there are lots of options for people. I even had some friends who said they enjoyed some non-alcohol containing wines recently. So I think there are lots of options for people that, for whatever reason, it could be any number of a whole bunch of reasons why you maybe don't want to drink that night. It just should be an option. That's what I'm saying. You can alert your host ahead of time, I'm not drinking tonight. I'm the designated driver. You could alert them that you have a term paper the next day. You can just say, I'm not drinking tonight, and just be firm about it. I mean, if you're allergic to peanuts and somebody shows you peanuts, offers you peanuts, you say, no, I don't do peanuts. Okay. I mean, I think it's okay to say, tonight I'm not doing alcohol. I think, I think having the option of not having alcohol-containing beverages at any party is a basic rule that we should start addressing in society, just so people are more comfortable in that context. Certain subgroups, and one of which is underage drinking, is just straight line decrease for the last 20 years. And I find that incredibly encouraging. And I really think that some of the message is getting through to young people. So this would be people under 21. There's a straight line decline in drinking. High school seniors, middle school, it's all trending in that same direction over the last 20 years. So I think that's a very positive sign and points to a healthier lifestyle in general for our young people, which points to ultimately a healthier lifestyle when they get older. And and there's also been a shift in peak drinking. You get into the weeds a little bit, but it used to be 21 to 26, and it's now more 26 to 20 to 34 where we see peak increases in peak drinking in the population. So I think there is a trend for younger people to have and aspire to a healthier lifestyle.